Hi guys, welcome to Family for Fun Vlog. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing.
Yes. So we wanted to give you an update. It's June, mid-June, 2024, and we have received our first design from our architect, which was really fun to see.
Yay!
We're
excited.
Yeah, it was great to see it, and it had a lot of impressive parts to it. But it turned out that it was a first design, which is, I guess, kind of a rough design.
Preliminary, I think he calls that.
Kind of a preliminary design because you remember we gave him so many pages of suggestions and pictures and everything, which I guess helped. But of course, there were some things that we had expected we were going to have to update. And so one of the things we did was we added flexibility. So there were some things that when we gave him, we really want this, we really want that. Some of those things, like one straight staircase, for example, we wanted to have a straight staircase. We thought we should give the architect some flexibility on that. As long as the staircase is wide enough, I think that was our big thing. Right?
Yeah, it was our first original telling the architect that, oh, we want to have a floating staircase. But because of our staircase and this preliminary design, it's a little bit long. So we decided to, okay, you can put any kind of a staircase design as long as it doesn't take so much space for the second floor.
Yeah, we gave him flexibility because we thought that he may have put things in a certain way because he was forced to use this really long sloping staircase, which is kind of a cool construction element of these contemporary houses. But we thought, you know what, if he could make something that we like even better, or reduce the footprint so that would save money on the overall design, why not give him the flexibility? And then we thought the most important thing for us was the wideness of the staircase. Yep. So we're using our house here and other examples where there's more than enough space. We said, here's like the minimum width of the staircase, and then here's our preferred width of the staircase. And that turned out to be much more important without reducing the flexibility of him if he wanted to make like an up and a landing and then going up again.
Yep.
So we thought we better give him the flexibility on some of these things. So we added that in the second, after viewing the first design. So then we also found that he made assumptions. And of course, the reason that you're hiring an architect, we had gotten guidance to hire an architect which is working in the design kind of style that you like. So we like this contemporary mode. So we found someone like that. And so we didn't want to constrain every little thing. And then it turns out you're designing your own house.
Yes, exactly.
We wanted to give him general guidance. And so, but then of course, when you do that, then the architect's going to make assumptions about what you might like. And so we did find that something like, we have a rooftop deck in the design, and he had covered the entire rooftop deck with like a roof with pillars on it. And we thought, well, that's pretty heavy. We didn't expect that.
Yeah, in pretty thick post.
Yeah.
Which is, we just want to have a simple roof top that it doesn't take the whole entire, space of rooftop deck.
So that was like one thing where he had assumed we would want a whole covered rooftop deck just from his perspective. So that's kind of the things that we found in there. Like, okay, let's give some feedback. We want a lighter rooftop deck mode, like more like a pergola mode instead of just a really normal roof that you would use, just a normal structural roof.
Yeah.
So another thing was that the architect thought that we would want large entertainment centers, like pretty large TVs and entertainment centers in every room. And then in order to do that, he put a wall instead of a window, because assuming that you would want your entertainment center like against a wall, which that really reduced the amount of light in the room, and it made had to put like smaller windows for that. So we said we'd really prefer to have no TV or a small TV in those rooms and have the light rather than have a wall that's only there to put an entertainment center in there, right?
Yep, and we want a bigger windows that you can see the view and then the pool, you know. So yeah, we decided to change that, and
Yeah, so that would allow these other items that are more important to us. So we're just refining it, kind of giving him feedback as we go. So we left in the items that he did that we really liked. And then some of the items, as we mentioned, you can either totally remove them. Like there was a room for he had assumed we needed for storing food, like a pantry room.
yeah, it's like US.
And it was pretty big.
Yeah.
It was pretty big. Like we're not going to stay in that place
long term.
Yeah, so we're going to be there for
Just
month
for a
or
vacation,
two.
yeah.
And so we said we don't need this enormous food storage area. So boom, you just remove square footage right there, or repurpose that for something else. So we gave him the feedback. We did another document similar to the first one, but then we kind of put these guiding principles at the top, like we want to be conscious of cost, so not just design for, with an unlimited budget.
Yeah.
And then, some of these other items like light or some things to do with the balcony that we wanted. So we gave him another document to refer to during that time with some additional photos of examples that we found on the web. And we said, he said he's going to be about 3 weeks, right, to do that design. And we said, don't rush, because we found in the first design, I think because we were so excited to see it,
Yep.
we're like, when's it going to be available? When's it going to be available? And then after a couple of days of that, of course, he's probably up at the middle of the night.
Yeah, we can't wait. And then, so it's end up like probably rushing it.
Yeah. So
Because we want to see it quickly.
So we said we better not do that, even though we do want to keep a fairly decent schedule of getting this total design done in maybe 2 months or something. We don't want to push it so fast that he has to do it, over his lunch hour, and you can tell that something's not the way it should be. Yeah.
Yes.
And then hopefully when we get this updated design next week, we think.
Actually, this week.
It should be this
this week. Yep.
Yeah.
So hopefully we will be able to see a 3D walkthrough. So this is our second phase design. So hopefully we'll see it this week.
And then another thing that he included in the rough design was an estimate of cost. And this is the point where you can design, you can redesign. If you say, for example, so many bedrooms, we just cannot afford that, or this particular feature, I just can't afford that. This would be from our research, we understand that this is the time to really understand that. Don't try to make up thousands of dollars at the end when you've overdone your budget, and then you have to get like cheap windows or cheap fixtures or something.
Yeah, everything cheap.
According to what our research said, is the square footage is where you're really going to make your money. So if you say, the room could be smaller, or this feature or that feature, the swimming pool could be smaller, this design time is when at least our architect is giving us an idea of the cost. And then, as we told him in our feedback, the cost is a little bit high for us. Let's just try to constrain that down to the budget, and then he can find savings in the actual design rather than just on your windows or something like that. So the next phase is going to be construction. So we're already thinking several months down the road, because even after we do a final design, they have to do engineering. They have to do submitting the final drawings to the planning department, I guess, the locals, to sign off on that. But even so, we're so excited about how we're going to do the construction, because it's in the Philippines. It's a totally different situation. And we want to be there on site because, there isn't as frequent an inspection process, or any inspection process like you would have in the U.S., where you have the local inspector has to come out and sign off on different phases, is my understanding. So we decided we are going to be there so that we can see what's happening phase by phase, because there will be things like plumbing that will go in and they can't really easily be changed. And we learned from our last renovation that when you show up, when you're looking at a camera, it's really, you can get things pretty wrong and you don't notice things.
Yeah, it's completely different when you're looking at in person or only through the video. So yeah, this is what we learned about our past experience.
Yeah. So and another thing in the Philippines is, if I think we searched this on the web, where they said things that can go wrong or what could happen when you're not there. And we understand that if things are ordered or things are invoiced to you, materials, for example, maybe a different type of material would show up at the job site. So if you're just saying, oh yeah, I see that there's, so many bags of concrete, our plan is to really have, the invoices there and then check things off, like it's this type, this size, this brand of everything. And being there on site means that it won't like conveniently disappear somewhere. Yes. And then also on top of that, at the construction time, that if you order something that's a higher end thing, but then when you're actually putting it into the structure, it turns out it didn't make it into your house. So we want to actually go and say, this is the thing that was actually installed in the house. So it's like a 3-step: is what did I order, what actually showed up, and then what's actually inside the structure. So that is an expense for us. We've already racked our brains for, is there a way for us to not have this expense of basically being there, oversight for the project? And you could do it, but with every step away from the project that you take, there's the chance that something's going to happen that you didn't you didn't see, or you couldn't feel with your own, you couldn't step or measure or something.
You can't see with your own eyes, and you don't like say what's going on with this and why is this, what's the color, and it's different colors than the one that we're talking about. Everything is wrong, something wrong, now you have to repeat it again. It's extra expenses.
Yeah, even something as simple as like line of sight, when you see something, if you've ever seen this before, where you see something that wasn't built level or plumb, and then your eye tells right away. You walk up and you go, hey, what's the deal with the slightly downward sloping,
there's something wrong with it.
Balcony or something. I've actually seen that in the Philippines too, where the balcony is actually angled down to the point where your eye sees it right away. So we thought, if something comes up where we could do this remotely, hey, that's great expense savings. And the other option was hiring a lot of, basically you're hiring inspectors, but again, this is just one step away from you actually being there and seeing the structure that you're going to live in. So you can probably, the more money you save, the more chance you have of being surprised when you show up at your new house, 6 months from now.
Yeah. So even though we are going to probably spend a lot of money for being there, it's just that we want to make sure to have a close supervision. And of course, we want to have our own, manager while we are being there. So to make sure everything is done correctly.
Yeah. We talked to someone else who is building a house, and this is going on their second house there. And they actually had a separate engineer, some kind of a structural, to oversee the work as well. So we thought, we have a foreman. We have a sort of a foreman on the side it's not his main job. He would be our inspector kind of, or our consultant or advisor. And then we were just weighing that. Should we have someone who's a degreed person or more like a foreman? The main thing is that we're just reducing the chances of a really big misstep, a really big mistake. So at least, even though we probably can't expect to be zero mistakes, at least there'll be smaller ones that are within the control, because you're monitoring the materials, you're monitoring the work
people
very closely.
The workers. So yep, we cannot wait for for our construction begin. Yay!
Yeah. And then we are always also recognizing that with these challenges that come up, we are out here pushing ourselves on something that we would normally not do a custom house overseas.
Yes.
But here we are, we're doing something that we're pushing our boundaries on. And so whenever things get a little bit tough or a little bit, challenging, we're like, hey, we're only doing this because we're pushing ourselves. It's easy to not do it and just sit on the couch and watch TV.
Yep.
But we're out here doing it, so we're accepting the good and the bad and keeping
Exactly.
ourselves.
Struggling, it's real.
Hopefully the reward will be real as well.
Yes.
Okay, and that really wraps it up for our update here in mid-June 2024, and we'll let you know what happens on the next
phase.
the next phase or the next step.
Yep.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
See you
Yay, we're excited.